Hey, everyone, is Miss Flo, and you are watching and listening to Go with the Flow, a podcast where I share my experience as a teacher, photographer, content creator, and have the opportunity to share some amazing stories, give some insights, and just spending wonderful and amazing time with close friends, family, and former students. So give it up. I'm so glad to be back. I took last week off because very tired. It's very exhausting right now to be a teacher, and I just needed some time to really collect myself, and I'm glad that I did it. I am fully energized and excited to get back into the swing of things and just really spend time in talking to y'all. If you are watching this stream live, feel free to talk in the chat. Uh, the whole reason that I decided to go on Twitch was solely that I can interact with my listeners and my viewers in real time and make sure that your voices are heard and not just mine. So please feel free to say hi and give your opinions on some of the trending topics that we have right now. Today's focus will be on the Grammys. Uh, Usually, I don't really watch award shows like I used to, but I do like to celebrate some of my favorite artists' victories and talk about some of the controversies surrounding the Grammys right now. Today, I have my former student, now best friend, Marcel, back on the show with us. Say hi, Marcel.
Hey everyone.
I appreciate you so much for coming back on the show. I know that you are a fan of a lot of the people that we are going to talk about today. But really, like, how are you doing? Like, how's your week been?
Um, my week so far has been pretty eventful. Um, I got a lot of things done that's gonna kind of get me to the next level of things I'm trying to get into. We're 1 month closer to graduation, so I'm very excited for that. And just looking for new things to experience. The weekend is gonna be pretty laid back, so I'm happy for that as always. And yeah, how was your week?
Pretty busy. So, of course, it is Black History Month. So, happy Black History Month to everyone. And there are a lot of events going on. Some were more successful than others. But around this time, this is a pretty busy for my for my students publication. If you are new to the podcast and Twitch, I do teach journalism, around photography, videography, video production as a whole, and news writing. And when the school have a whole bunch of events all together, like my students and I were we were working. We were definitely I earned my paycheck. I'm pretty convinced at this time my students should start getting paid to do this. It is very hard work. Um, and we even took time to go to this event outside of our school, the Trigger Project. I met the founder, Tina Bell, during the pandemic through a mutual acquaintance. And I would just shout her out really quick. I truly appreciate what she does. She has this program to really reach out to the youth and not just protect them from the streets, but to ensure that they do not become a threat to the streets. And we need more programs like that. We need more people like her. It was a lovely event. Even though my students were primarily there to cover it, they even had the opportunity to shared their experience with gun violence and how it affected them and how they worked through the trauma. It's very emotional, but like I'm so glad that they took part in that. And if there are any other future events with the Trigger Project, make sure you follow them on Instagram. Uh, we're definitely going to take part for sure. But yeah, it's been a pretty busy week. We have next week even busier, but then after that we will have a midwinter break. Why it's there, I don't know, but I'm not. But like the way I'm feeling now, I'm like I'm very appreciative of that break, and hope to get so many things accomplished. Not just with my work at the school, but here with my publication. Um, but let's go ahead and dive into it. Before we dive into the Grammys, there's this very somewhat, I don't want to say weird. I just feel like it's a very odd choice that AMC, if you haven't heard, AMC has decided to do tier pricing for their movie seats. So you know when you usually, buy your ticket in advance or in general for movies, you can pick any seat you want and usually it's the same price no matter where you sit. Now, AMC has these theaters have this tier pricing where the more preferred seats or what they consider like the seats for the best viewing, they will cost more. uh, any other seat surrounding will be the same usual price. But if you want to save some money, like take $2 off your ticket, um, and if you want to like be uncomfortable, you can sit in the very front. And I was so upset. Like you know, Marcel, like I'm a huge moviegoer,
Hmm.
and just I enjoy being out, going to the movies, and, sharing this experience with strangers is very comforting. And just an excuse to get out the house instead of just binge watching and, streaming at home. And,
Yeah.
I mean, just to, I don't know. This is very bizarre. I don't know if this is an attempt to like maybe regain their finances after the pandemic. A lot of businesses, including movie theaters, took some really big hits. So I don't know if this is their way of recovering. Like, what is your take on this?
Honestly, don't know why they even have that idea. You made a good point with the whole, trying to regain the funds that they lost during the pandemic, because that did hurt a lot of people, even big businesses. Um, but them trying to raise a ticket where movie tickets are already kind of expensive for like the common person compared to like inflation already and there being lack of jobs, etc. I don't think it's a good idea because most people don't go watch movies anyway because we have so many streaming platforms, and even sometimes they don't even pay for the streaming platforms. They go and they go to like a pirated movie website.
Mm,
At least I know that's what a lot of like the youth are doing. Like people don't really pay for movies unless you want the experience of being at a movie theater. A lot of people don't have that uh, big experience feel like you do. Like we've been to the movies together plenty of times, and sometimes it does really depend on who's there with you and how they make you feel. And I guess a lot of people just want to watch a movie in their house, or some people just don't have the time. So I think the influx in like prices is a very interesting way to go about it, especially when like not only movie tickets are expensive, but um, the movies in general, like snacks and stuff, is expensive as well. So like
mm.
people don't really want to pay for snacks either. So why raise the price of something else? And a lot of people don't have these memberships anymore. So I just think it's just
It's
very interesting move.
Yeah, and it's a bad timing. Like you mentioned, we are dealing with inflation, and people are still recovering from the pandemic. Do you feel like, do you go to AMC? Because AMC wasn't even, you know, one of my go-to theaters. It was Regal, but
Mm.
Regal, I think, is closing a lot of their locations, including the one down in Chinatown.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go to AMC every now and again, but Regal has always been the kind of thing, especially because Regal was kind of like what I was brought up on.
Mhm.
Because they had a lot of like connections to schools, and so like we would always get like movie passes and movie tickets for like
Mhm.
Regal Cinema, you know. So like that's kind of what a lot of us grew up on. So I've never really been a big AMC person. So yeah, no, not really a big AMC girl.
I mean, I didn't. I like the other idea they had. I think I can't remember if it was ANC, but it was
Mm,
they were going to you could rent out a movie theater for $99. That's
that's not bad.
that's not bad. Like that'd be an amazing party idea. Like
Yeah,
just to watch like any movie or to even like hook up a gaming console to the projector and just like really have a good time. Um
yeah.
I kind of like that better, but like the whole tier seating um bit, I'm not feeling it, and I think this is going to really deter people from going to the theater. I mean, movies have always been struggling because, like you said, with piracy, and now competing with streaming platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, Hulu, that are not only pulling in, these big name movies, but they're also making their own content for a fraction of the price. So I don't know, like I don't see AMC really lasting too long um after this, which is sad to say, because like I said, going to the movies is usually a fun experience. If you
Yeah.
didn't want people over your house, you could just go to the movies. So, it's giving yikes.
It's
It's giving yikes.
giving. Let's see what's gonna happen.
Mm, yeah. Sorry, MC. This is not a winner. All right, but on to better news. Focusing on the Grammys, which is always an exciting event in the music industry. A lot of people have mixed feelings about the Grammys, whether they don't really consider it as a big deal, or feel like there are some major biases in who wins, and it's a lot of politics involved with it, but it's always exciting to see your favorite artist get recognized for their artistry. So I was always like on the fence with the Grammys, but let's focus on some of the big winners and some more positive side of the Grammys. First, they have Trevor Noah hosting, and
Mm.
if you're not familiar with him, he hosted the Daily Show and recently, stepped down, so that he could get back into stand-up comedy and pursue other projects. He's an amazing comedian, very insightful, uh, just a great person in general, from what I'm seeing from like, his TV persona. Um,
Yeah.
I just enjoyed his act. He did such an amazing. I saw snippets of him hosting the Grammys, and I enjoyed the little bit that he had with Adele and introducing her to The Rock, and just because they're both huge fans of each other, very, and also having that nice playful humor that doesn't really offend anybody, and everybody's having a really good time. It's not like big news, but I just like overall really appreciate him, and I just want to give him his kudos. Have you ever seen any of his material, Marcel?
Um. Well, I think a couple years ago, my friend Rachel was a really big Trevor Noah fan. She watched his show very often. I never really seen him. I just know people always made like memes of like how he kind of like the guy from
He looks like The Weeknd. That's the running joke a little bit.
He
Yeah.
also said he looks like the other guy,
What's the other guy?
the one from the that robot show. His name like Malik something.
Maybe when he had his hair cut, I don't really
That.
see that as comparison. I since he grew his hair out, he's been getting a lot of comparison to The Weeknd.
Mhm.
Like that whole evil twin meme. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, he's just like overall his material is funny. He's just an all around great entertainer, and
Yeah, I've
I'm
heard he's
excited.
really really good. Like a big philanthropist the right word? Like
Yes,
humanitarian.
he's very caring, charitable, all of that. It's just like I'm just, glad to see someone like him, host such amazing event. He's also done like other events too. I think he's done the White House
Mhm.
uh press dinner. That's not what it's called. But he's doing big things, and I'm excited to see where his career goes next, for sure. Um, n Another great artist, one of my favorite artists, uh, that I just like, I enjoy her music. It's very uplifting. Um, I could feel her smile every time she performs. I hear her music, and she's a great musician. Like, who plays the flute and twerks at the same time? That is a talent that should automatically be honored. I am talking about our girl Lizzo, who wins the record of the year about that time. And it is about that time, for sure. Uh, what's your favorite Lizzo song, Marcel?
My favorite Lizzo song has to be um, Oldie but Goodie. I love it as hell.
Yeah.
I do. It still calibrates to this day. I also love Juice.
Mm.
A lot of her like hits. I haven't heard Special yet. I think I saw her perform it. Was it at the Grammy she performed it?
I
Was she
can't
performing
remember.
Special? Was it called Special or something?
That's a good question. Like I said, I didn't like officially watch the Grammys. I was just like, paying attention to the Twitter feed. But just overall, like I feel that Lizzo is such an outstanding artist who
Definitely.
like does everything she can to make sure people of color, um, and as well as like our big girls are seen in a more positive light and really gives them a platform to break stereotypes and just just to be amazing. Like she like I said before, like I can feel her positive energy through the screen and through her music. Like she's just like such an outstanding person, and I'm so excited that she got record of the year. Like that is that's like one of the like the top awards to
Oh, definitely.
win. So
She
like
definitely deserves that.
yes, yes, yes. And black girls, black women keep winning uh at the Grammys. Of course, Viola Davis, she's officially an EGOT.
Hmm.
She received a Grammy for her audiobook. Um like come on, like Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony, like just put her in the Hall of Fame right now. She is I've been a fan of hers. Like I just love her, and this is just the comic book geek in me. I love her as Waller, in Suicide Squad. Um, like I don't really watch too much of like her dramatic work, or like I haven't
Mhm.
seen How to Get Away with Murder, but like the
But that
little
was
thing
big. I didn't watch it
I've
either, but it was big.
I've heard like so many like positive things from her. I loved Woman King. I loved her in that. The fact that she went through that grueling training to get in peak shape and deliver not just the physical aspect of that role, but to deliver such an emotional performance. Like she deserves all her coin, all the awards. Give her her flowers, the roses, the whole garden. She is one of the greatest, like well-rounded artists um, that I've seen within my generation, and I'm excited to see more from her for sure. Okay, so now that we have like some really amazing and outstanding moments from the Grammys, there are some turbulence, if I should say. Of course, if you're familiar with Bad Bunny, you may know him from being in the WWE. You may know him from Bullet Train, but he is um just become this huge global artist that's taken the industry by storm while also challenging the industry. Uh, the Grammys made a bit of a boo boo. I'm gonna say a boo boo. Like I don't know. Like it was a boo boo, a weird boo boo. It is very weird. So while Bad Bunny was performing at the Grammys, you had the caption pop up that said singing non-English. They couldn't just say Spanish. They couldn't just say Spanish or
Yeah, I was
like
very taken aback by that. Like, I didn't know it was gonna become like this big thing, but I was like, we don't have captions for just Spanish. Like, hello, 21st century. Spanish is like the if not the second biggest or like first spoken language nowadays. Everybody goes to learn Spanish, and it's just like he's an international or worldwide pop star. He's become one of the biggest male pop stars in just under like maybe 2 years or so. So if you're listening to the music, you should have translations. It's just respectful.
yeah, and I was just like, even if you didn't have the translation, non-English, non-English. You could have said like no Espanol at least, but you just like have it say non-English. And he was like, when I saw like the clips of like the performance, like everybody was up on their feet, like really feeling it. Like it was just very weird. And like the Grammys have a whole Latin category. So why would like I don't know who flubbed that up. I'm pretty sure somebody's fired because that is completely unacceptable. And it's definitely showing the Grammys hand in terms of like who's behind the scenes. Like I feel like there's not enough people of color, especially apparently those in the Latin culture that's in the production seat. So um I hope they get a chance to fix that because it's not fair to an artist that has become so influential and just have had, like you said, expanded his artistry in a short amount of time. So, but he did win a Grammy that night. Um, but it sucks. It kind of it dampers over what some people may think is very minuscule, but come on now. Treat this man with some respect and just say, either like singing in Spanish or just have the caption up in Spanish. I mean, well, have the English translate. I'm sorry, have the English translation. Ugh. English. I need to speak English. English translation on there so that everybody can understand his message. But oh, that's the other thing. I have like a bit of a conspiracy theory. Um, I saw somebody like on Instagram saying like he was singing a song that was challenging the industry. So part of me
Mm-hmm.
feels like they didn't translate it on purpose.
Mm.
So that's very shady, Grammys. Like sometimes you need to have a spoonful of your own medicine. Um, you know what I mean? But it feels like they were kind of. I mean, if you knew the song that he was performing, why let him perform at all?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's very, very shady Grammys, very shady,
Mhm.
very. Um, onto like a bit of more. It's more of a somber moment. Are the Grammys take Quavo did a lovely tribute uh for Takeoff, and
Mhm.
I have to commend him on his bravery on being this vulnerable, especially since he's most likely still processing the trauma. If you don't recall, like Quavo was with Takeoff during the shooting, and when you're like in such close proximity to that violence and witness your loved one being taken away from you, um, part of it you most likely are dealing with survivor's guilt. Um, you're dealing with it's just so many things that's surrounding Takeoff Set, especially since people were filming it, people were posting it online. Um, it's just it's just a lot for this young artist, and for him to work through his pain by performing, producing the song and performing the tribute. Um, I just want to commend him on that because it takes it does take so much. So um yeah, I just appreciate that he was able to be vulnerable with his fans and the audience for a second and to really pay tribute um to his fallen kin. Um what was your reaction to this tribute?
um. Well, personally, I had saw him preview the song on Twitter. So I was like kind of prepared for like the tribute. I don't know if he was gonna do it at the Grammys, but he did like pre-release the song, I think, or like he just
Mhm.
showed a snippet of the song, and it was just really hard for like to watch because even in the video of him like playing the song back in the studio, he was just like smoking a cigar and like had his glasses on, like you can tell like he was crying and stuff, and it was just um. I'm not sure, but I think sorry. I believe that Quavo is the uncle and Takeoff was the nephew. I can't remember, but
Yeah, I know they're like all related. I just can't remember, how the family tree works. But they were very,
yeah.
tight knit. I think I'm not entirely clear on the falling out between them and Offset. Um, I don't know if it's just between Offset and Quavo
Well,
and
I kind of heard that the night at the Grammys they had got into that argument because and I thought it was I thought it was confirmed to be false because I think Quavo tweeted it. Um,
yeah, it was a legend. We don't know.
but I think somebody said they overheard Cardi B um
Trying to like mediate and
yeah settle it down,
yeah.
but apparently it was over like uh Offset not being on stage with Quavo while the um I guess the dedication song was like being played or something. That's what's rumored to go around. But um I am happy that like a lot of the other rumors are out the way because there was so much of a conspiracy of like what happened that night, and like even people on Twitter were like saying that they were at the time of like the things took place and were like, oh, this is what happened and this happened and da 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 da. So it was just like so crazy, and it's just so crazy for us to live in a world where like even celebrities, as we've seen with so many people, like even I wasn't a big fan of him, but like a couple years ago, the ex Tentacion boy, like how their murders are just like put on display like this, like uh, it's just like crazy how everything has to be so exploited to like the fans, whether it's like legit life or death, you know.
Mhm.
Um, Sometimes we forget the fine line that celebrities are real people.
Mm.
So they may have a little bit more than us, or have a little bit more like pull than a lot of people, but they are still regular people, and they deserve their respect and privacy like everybody else. Um, Even though that situation was like a public, you know, endeavor, I don't think that we should have seen like the gunshots and stuff like that like go on. Like I feel like as much energy it took into that, like it could have been taken into like saving that man's life, because he wasn't even like
Right.
the issue in the situation.
Right.
So,
He was an innocent bystander. Um, and yeah, I think a lot of people just like really heartless and doing it kind of like chase clouds. And I don't think that's
mhm,
fair. It's just like so that's why like I really commend Quavo for doing this because like I know he experienced so much and it's probably going to still experience more. Um, but I appreciate him being vulnerable because a lot of times um black men aren't really given the privilege to be vulnerable
mhm,
or the even
definitely.
or so just for him to kind of like still work through his feelings through his art, and I think that's what more people need to do to cope with their trauma.
Right.
So yeah, so condolences to Quavo, Offset, and Cardi because it's not easy. Losing a loved one is not easy for your loved one to be taken away in such a senseless manner. And
Mhm,
and hope that they could well it's really not much you can really do when your loved one is taken away from that. It's just like time heals, but you're still
mhm.
kind of left with that wound. So, um and I'll just, send my condolences. All right. So now to the main event of the Grammys, which has everybody talking in good and bad. Of course, we're going to talk about like Queen Bee, Beyonce,
Mhm.
and as you know, uh, recently she dropped what is now considered a very iconic album, Renaissance, and my God, like how many times have you played that record, Marcel?
Many times and will many more.
Like just didn't miss a beat. It was just so good. Like so many of my coworkers were talking about it. Like it is just it ate, left no crumbs, plate clean. And okay, well let's start like with the good. Okay, she managed to break the record and now has won 29 Grammys. 29. 29 and Nicki still can't get one. That's crazy. But Beyonce, rightfully so, deserves this honor. Has a very hardworking artist who just delivers and just gives like hit after hit after hit, and doesn't even have to do much promo. He just like drops an album, and it just sells. We're still
Mhm.
waiting on the visuals. That was the other thing. Um, we still haven't seen like a video or anything from this album yet. But hopefully when it comes out, does she even need to drop visuals at this point?
No, the division's gonna be at the door.
Like I don't think like it would be necessary. I think the album itself is enough. But she's also been known to drop some amazing videos. So, but I digress. 29 Grammys and still didn't win Album of the Year.
That's the one she never wins.
And the internet, Black Twitter, everybody is disgusted. Disgusted, hurt, offended, wondering why. And it's very mixed too, because some people were like, well, why does she need to win Album of the Year if she has won 29 Grammys? It's the
And for those
prestige.
people, they need to mind their business.
It's a flex. Like, no shade to like the other categories in the Grammy, because if you won the Grammy for any category, like, you deserve it. You know what I mean? That's the recognition that you receive for your amazing hard work. But Album of the Year is one of the most coveted awards in a coveted category overall at the Grammys. You mean to tell me that Renaissance that immediately, flying, well, there's no shelves. Nobody's really like physically buying the record, but like the streaming numbers have to be insane. Like the amount of the reception of it, how it was received. Come on now. Come on now. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And you can't. And it's just, I think we're like very confused because we don't know how the Grammys vote. Like the politics. I mean, if you consider not only like the way that she brought back house music, the way that she put the LGBTQ community first with this album, she even like modified it a couple times to accommodate people's concerns, or you know what I mean? Like there was the concern of the lyric, her using spaz. She changed that. There's this whole thing with Khalees. She had changed the song again, changed that song. Like, she has really made an effort to make sure everybody enjoys her music and to really limit whatever controversy, that may be lingering around it. So, like, I don't know too many artists that would do that. But Lizzo has done that, but you know what I mean? Like, to make so many change, not so well, make some changes to an album that's already, you know, done exceedingly well. She didn't have to do it, but she did out of respect. She still didn't win Album of the Year, and it goes to Harry Styles, the one D dude, and then on top of that, Harry had a very bizarre, bizarre, bizarre acceptance speech. Do you remember what it is? Do you remember what he said, Marcel?
He said, "This doesn't usually happen to people like me." And I
What
looked at
you?
my TV screen or my computer screen, and I said, "Cis hetero white man that's been fetishized since he was a teen. I'm sorry, it's been a heartthrob since he's been a teen." Now, he might have been talking about like people in boy bands,
He
but
said Justin Timberlake. Like,
you specifically,
I feel like I would say this. I enjoy some of Harry Styles' music. I love As It Was. I love Watermelon Sugar. I think he is a very talented individual. I believe he is a very sweet person. Um, it's a bit of a flip on his part and him not really reading the room. Like, you got album of the year over Beyonce, Lizzo. I think Mary J. Blige was also in that category. So, like, you were in that category with a number of highly talented black women, and you got album of the year. What other song off that album people know? I've only heard As It Was.
That's only because it was shooting on TikTok.
So I personally feel like all he had to do was just like say like thank you and just walk off stage. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he just didn't really read the room. And
Hmm.
it's why like I wish I could pull it up. I was trying to get the photo where like you can see Trevor Noah in the background, and he's kind of cringe. You can tell he's cringing a little bit after he said that, and like everybody's kind of feeling some type of way that he won, and then you say that. That's weird. No, Harry, baby, no. I just, I just need people like him to understand his white privilege and really process what happened. And I don't believe he should be canceled. I don't think there should be no hate going towards Harry. I just think, because I think he has a close relationship with Lizzo.
Hmm.
So, like, I think within that circle, there needs to be a conversation of like why people had an issue with what he said and him winning the album. I don't want to like take away. I don't want to do like a whole Kanye thing like what he did with Taylor Swift and be like, Beyonce had the best album of all time. Like, I don't want to do that to him. But like, you know what I mean? But I've seen, other artists like Adele. I think she won it. I don't think it was last year. Was it last year? Or some time ago when she won over Beyonce and she took like her speech to, just give Beyonce her kudos. You know what I mean? Like it's you know what I mean, the self-awareness that Adele has, you know what I mean,
Right.
is is something that he needs to acquire, you know?
Hmm.
So, hopefully there could be that conversation. He will be receptive to that. And it doesn't turn and snowball to a whole thing where he kind of brushes it off or dismisses it because like you don't really grow from that. And yeah, I really hope somebody just needs to pull him to the side like, hey buddy, this is why what you said was a problem. You know what I mean? Um,
Hmm.
but that basically sum up the the Grammys from what I kind of saw online. Of course we had some amazing victories. There's definitely Black Girl Magic there. Um, but some it's not misunderstanding. I think it's just well, I would just say this. I think everybody is aware of the politics and the biases the Grammys have. And it was just even more apparent with this last show. And just hopefully that, whoever is on the board of the Grammys or whoever um, is in the production booth, it's somebody with our skin color. You know what I mean? Somebody that is just self-aware or is willing to consult people of different cultures and ethnicities to just make sure that it's more inclusive. So, for that note. And then we also got to see, a black man to be vulnerable, um, but maybe consider like a very low point, uh, you know, and we see Beyonce break records, but the album of the year is like, I hope that's not the award that haunts her. towards like the end of her career, or like I don't want her to feel invalid. Well, it's Beyonce. I'm pretty sure she doesn't feel invalidated, but like for some people, not getting the one true award that they deserve, like it goes to the back of your head, and it you know creates your self saboteur and feeds into
Hmm.
that. But but Beyonce's human too. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
so hopefully, she will one day get album of the year, and then Black Twitter will just erupt. Uh, but yeah. But thank you guys for watching and listening in. I really appreciate your support. I know I keep changing the times, but like I found out when Untucked was coming on, so hopefully you guys will be flexible with me on that. Just FYI, next week I won't be streaming because I will be on a school field trip. Um, I may still do an episode, it just may not be live. I gotta figure that out. Or what I may do is maybe stream before I go on that trip. So just stay posted. Stay tuned in to my Instagram on my basically all my social media. It's all the same. Noir Vibes DC. So make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Remember the live streams turn into videos that are archived on YouTube because Twitch doesn't archive for long. The stream will be up for 6 days. So if you want to view it on Twitch, that's the amount of time that you have. But don't worry, again, I'm saving to my YouTube channel on a Noir Vibes DC. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys. If you really enjoy my program, make sure that you like, share, and comment. Again, I do want to hear from you guys. I know the chat has been relatively quiet, but I just want to really hear your opinions and what you think about these topics. I want to make sure your voice is heard as well as mine. Because remember, you can't go wrong when you go with the flow. Say bye to the people, Marcel.
Bye.
Bye.